My name is Mike, and I am a regional medical officer for the Foreign Service Department of State. That's a specialist, and basically I'm a doctor who treats people and covers various embassies. I was lucky enough to be a foreign exchange student in Holland right after high school, and then went into medicine and went through college, medical school, worked in emergency rooms for eight years, and at that point I wanted something different, and I think I found it. And I was basically on vacation, and the Central Intelligence Agency had an ad in the back of the Miami Herald. And I wrote them a letter asking if they hired doctors, and the response was a little unusual. And I talked to a friend of mine and said, well, I wonder if the State Department hires doctors. And so again, in those days, you went to the library, you wrote letters, and 2 years later, he was in Pakistan, and 4 years later, I was in Somalia. I had been in Europe and in Wisconsin, so I had never really seen true poverty or let alone violence of that nature, and it was quite an eye-opener. It was actually a missionary's wife who was having a very difficult pregnancy and was in trouble and was being medevaced in a small plane and was at the airport in Senegal, and I had talked to the local hospital. I had good relations with the French military hospital there, and just walking into that plane, had to bend over because it was a small bush plane. And she looks up, and I just said, well, I'm a doctor from the State Department. And the look on her face was really great. I think doctors in the U.S. are busy. I mean, you see people, every 15, 20 minutes. All my patients have insurance, so I don't worry about pay. They don't have to pay me. I have time to talk to them, and I get to know their families. And there was a girl, I was called by a mother, very upset because she thought her daughter might be pregnant, and didn't want anybody to know, because remember, that's 300 people in the community. It's the ultimate small town. So she calls me, and I said, well, why don't you come in after school? We'll wait till everybody leaves. So they came in, and the three of us, because in those days it was a bit more complicated to do the pregnancy test. So mom is doing part, I'm doing part, and the daughter is reading the directions. And it was really great, because then when the timer went off and it was negative, we all cried and hugged each other. So, you know, you don't get that experience, I don't think, in the U.S. much. And if you really get to know people, you're part of their family. I cherish that. We have a mandatory clinical conference meeting, and for instance, we just had one. We split the world in half because we literally cover the world, so half went to Bangkok and half went to Pretoria. And in the Pretoria one this year, the theme was trauma. And we had very, very lifelike trauma scenarios, 4 different ones, one with a robot, which literally was spurting blood, and you had to put tourniquets on, and you could do what was called a cricothyroidotomy and put chest tubes in, to the point where one of our people who's from Pakistan had a flashback to a real situation. So we really, and advanced cardiac life support. People know you're a diplomat. They know you're an American diplomat, no matter where you are and what you're doing. And my family, again, my kids were very young, but always recognize that wherever we are, our behavior, rightly or wrongly, will be interpreted by local people as that's what Americans do. And even though I'm a specialist and I don't make policy, I don't make speeches except here to a degree, my behavior is what they see and what they associate with us. You will run your own ship, and you'll be expected to be flexible and adaptable, and we will support you, and we will give you all the support we can, and there's always people to ask, but you have to like creative solutions. It's a great thing. Again, you will care for people. You will be truly part of their family, like an old general practitioner. If you're flexible, if your family's flexible, there's just nothing quite like it.